I'd like to dedicate Periscope to the veterans, many of whom volunteered, not knowing exactly what would be asked of them. So there I stood at the water's edge, naked except for a skimpy Academy-issue Speedo, looking out over the water, 2 drowning victims, and I had to choose only one to save. The situation was this. I was a plebe, as a freshman, at the U.S. Merchant Marine Academy, and in order to go to sea, starting your 3rd class year, or your sophomore year, you had to go through a lot of swimming lessons, and you had to be able to do a proper rescue and life saving. That's in addition to all the physics and chemistry and navigation and all that other stuff. And so, in the water for our test, there were 2 drowning victims. Lieutenant Peterson, who was 5'6", 125 pounds, long blonde hair, beautiful. I mean, at the academy, it's 90% male. And anyway, she looked like she could have been on the Swedish bikini team from the beer commercials. So, and then there was Commander Brown, who was 6'2", 225 pounds, and had a reputation for being a bit of a fighter when you tried to rescue him. So that's the decision to make. For some, it would be easy, but not for me. I was 18 years old and had lots of feelings. And in fact, I thought, it probably is a safer bet, instead of putting my hands all over Lieutenant Peterson to try to execute a rescue, probably it's a safer bet to go with Commander Brown. And needless to say, the line to save Commander Brown was a pretty short line. So I got to the front of that line in just a couple of minutes, and I hear from across the pool in a woman's voice, "Lou, I want Lou to save me." That's right. Lieutenant Peterson actually knew who I was and wanted me to save her. I have to say, at age 18, I had never heard a woman ever say, "Lou, I want Lou." And I'm afraid that kind of turned the key, the ignition key, of a really big motor. Now, orders are orders. So Midshipman Novak was going to dive in and save Lieutenant Peterson. I did that. I should probably explain how a proper rescue is executed. You will swim to within 10 feet. And you try to face the victim so the victim knows what you're doing. You'll do the surface dive. You'll go down in the vicinity of the victim's feet and try to grab the ankles. And then work your way up the head, to the knees, to the thighs, all right? And then at the hips, you use that leverage to rotate all the way around and to land the person, the victim, onto your hip, where the small of the back will go over the hip. And then you would try to throw your arm across and like between the breasts on a female victim, and go under the arm for a cross-chest carry. It's pretty intimate. Okay, and frankly, I didn't have that much experience with that kind of intimacy. But orders are orders, and I swim for Lieutenant Peterson. Keeping my eyes on, going 10 feet, getting around to face her. I execute my surface dive. I get down around the ankle. I grab her. Well, you know I mentioned that motor, right? Okay, now it's thighs to hips. Well, I just plain skip third gear. I'm in fourth gear. And then I have to rotate her around and to get the small of her back right over that hip. Well, anyway, that's fourth gear, all right, and I had to maneuver in such a way as to not alert my victim of the state of my excitement. Okay? And that Speedo was tourniquet tight. All right? And then I throw my arm across her, and I got her firmly, and I start my side stroke swimming away. She taps me. She says, "You got it. It's a good rescue." And I let her go immediately, and I made my way over to the side of the pool. I'm really looking frantically for one of those cold jets. I couldn't find one. I get over to the side, and I'm kind of dawdling. She says, "You passed. You can get out." "Yes, ma'am." And I very gently make my way over to the ladder at the side of the pool. And I'm like thinking about my calculus homework. But I got to do something to diffuse this. It had a small effect. But eventually I had to climb out of the pool because, you know, I'm just being told repeatedly. So I climb out of the pool. My Speedos were not well containing me. And my classmates looked and pointed and laughed. I was scarred emotionally. But I passed. I did go to sea. I graduated from the academy and had a career on ships. And never in that time did I ever actually use any of these things that I was tested on. But I did go on to become a life-saving instructor. And I taught probably close to 100 lifeguards. And never again did I ever experience the embarrassing condition that I had then. And I attribute it to two things. One, my age and maturity experience. And the other is I never had to wear another skimpy Speedo again.